be happy to know that.
Somebody's going to do it.
You know, we've got a barn full of horses here, but I promise you that is the important horse in the family.
Tommy, for people who are going to be seeing these stories over the next couple of days, your side of the argument seems to be the face of racing, and a lot of people don't seem to embrace just how many lives will be affected if this thing goes the wrong way. Just some thoughts about that.
Hey, wait, can we just add, I'm sorry. Can we answer that at request? He's going to say his name, spell it out, and
Proper title.
proper title.
Okay.
And then quick question.
We good?
Yep, go
Yes,
ahead.
go.
Okay. My name's Tom Drury, Drury. I'm a trainer here at Skylight Training Center.
Okay, Adam. So, this is, for most people not in the sport, they don't really get this argument, what's going on, why it's important one way or the other. And if you could speak to sort of the face of racing and all the people who will be affected if this decision goes so-called the wrong way and historical horse racing is taken away.
You know, I think a lot of just the average people in Kentucky, they know, obviously they know the Derby and they know Keeneland and they know Churchill, but you know, there are some that don't realize that, you know, Kentucky racing is year round, and there are a lot of smaller horse trainers that, you know, not only do they race in the summertime at Ellis Park, but they race in the wintertime at Turfway Park. For me as an individual, I've had I've got a family here, I've got kids, and you know, being able to travel around the country is just not something that's feasible for me. We've been kind of struggling along for the last several years to get through the winters at Turfway Park, and the purse structure continues to drop, and we continue to lose horses, and it's obviously made our job, you know, much more difficult to stay into business, and you know, this is something that's not only important to us as horsemen, but it's important to the state. The trickle-down effect that this has, and that the equine community has, it's going to affect all of us. You know, whether it's a farmer that sells hay, or a person that owns a horse transport company, or the feed companies, or you know, there's a lot of people that rely on horse racing to feed their families.
Tommy, if you could follow up just a little bit on Jefferson, Oldham County specifically, Skylight, kind of put that in perspective, because we've got it all out here in Oldham County. We've got a track, we've got tack stores, we've got feed stores. If you could talk a little bit specific, local, I'd appreciate it.
You know, just you know, let's just look at my operation as, you know, just one individual operation here in Goshen, Kentucky. I've got 30 employees here. They have families that they have to provide for. I've bought my hay from the same farmer for the last 15 years, and they're located here in Oldham County. You know, I think they would obviously take a big hit if I wasn't here training horses. The local tack shop that I do business with, Skylight Supply, they do all my feed and supplies and things of that nature. And it even trickles down to the Skylight Country Store, where my employees will have lunch after they finish working here. So yeah, I think the trickle down effect could, you know, it'll definitely be seen, because this isn't something that, you know, this is something that has to go for us to survive.
Speaking for local trainers and farm owners, how many people, I mean, just that you think would be affected if HAR doesn't get passed?
Well, you're talking about 100,000 jobs in Kentucky, and that's just the equine part of it. So, you know, when you start looking at again, back to the trickle down effect, when you start looking at that, and you start looking at the people, you know, that work at the racetracks, the parking attendants, the people that sell programs, the people that work in concessions. It's you know, this is huge for the state of Kentucky, and you know, I think the frustrating part of it for horse trainers is we're not asking for a bailout or a handout. We're just asking for a level playing field. We want to be able to compete with the rest of the country, and we want to stop losing our horses to other places because they have the expanded gaming and things of that nature.
I've got a question. You've been around obviously a long time. You've seen Kentucky racing was very ordinary. You saw it when in the late 80s when they got simulcasting, it went up. You saw it then when the surrounding states got casino wagering, and really, I think people forget how much purses took a hit, and you really saw that turquoise. And then now you've seen it kind of come back. So talk about the cycles of it and how it doesn't have to stay where it is now.
You know, I think the biggest majority of owners would love to have their horses in Kentucky year round, or at least the Kentucky owners would. Most of them are very passionate about their horses. They're very passionate about racing. They want to go to the races and watch their horses run. They want to be a part of it. And you know, the last few years, it's really came down to a dollar and cents thing. That, you know, if you can run at Turfway Park for a $30,000 pot versus going to Oaklawn and running for an $80,000 pot, you know, it's hard to tell a man not to move his horse. So, you know, that's been the primary struggle for us, is just being, you know, the playing field's just so uneven right now for the state of Kentucky, and you know, it's frustrating at times because we're supposed to be the leaders of the industry. I mean, it's if you go to the other side of the world and tell somebody you're from Kentucky, they're going to know horses. They're going to know the Kentucky Derby. So, you know, it just seems to me that this is something that needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed immediately.
Tommy, in some of the smaller tracks, the Ellis Park, the Kentucky Downs, places that aren't likely to survive and go under, what happens just culturally for Kentucky?
Well, let's just look at Turfway. You know, we've been struggling along at Turfway for years, and then all of a sudden Churchill comes out that they're buying it, and there's this excitement in the air, and people are finally thinking, okay, finally this is gonna go the right way. And you know, you've got guys that normally leave the state in the winter. They're suddenly making arrangements to stay here and be back in their own home year round, and now it kind of feels like the rug got pulled out from underneath us. So I just can't stress enough. There's so many little guys out there that don't have the luxury of being able to go to Gulfstream Park or Oaklawn or places like that. They rely on Kentucky to feed their families, and it's just without this being approved and being addressed, there's going to be a lot of them that's not going to make it.